Yeah, hello everybody. I'm Ajayi. I have with me here a young man by name Mr. Lokman Ahmed. He had volunteered to take part in this program, and I have with me here the signed consent form to confirm that he had really truly volunteered to be a part of the program. Mr. Lippman, thank you for being a part of this program. You're welcome.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
I'll be asking you some questions, and some of these questions, they are going to be personal. Some of them might be personal. You have a preference to either answer them or refuse to answer some of them. If I ask any of these questions and you don't feel comfortable to answer them, please let me know. Then we'll go to the next question. But I'm very sure that most of the questions we touch on, general things that are not really big things. So let's get on to work. Can you try and give me a brief introduction about yourself? About your name, your date of birth, and then where you were born.
Well, my name is Lokman Ahmed. I was born in Gambia, raised in Pakistan, and I've been in Pakistan all my life, since the age of 2. And I moved down to the U.S. about 3 years ago, precisely the year 2010.
Ah, okay. You came to the U.S. in 2010.
Yes, to study electrical engineering.
Okay. You've been a student since you were here.
I've been a student and I'm still a student, getting ready to go for my PhD.
Oh, okay, wonderful. What do you think is the basic difference between the education structure in the U.S. and Pakistan from your experience for the past 30 years?
Well, basically the Pakistani system of education has, they follow the British pattern, which is the 6334 system of education. And the 6334 of education means that you spend 6 years in elementary school, 3 years in junior high school, 3 years in high school, and then you spend 4 years in the university.
Oh, okay. Which means you've passed through all those cadres before you move to the U.S.
Yes, sir. That's one of the requirements.
Okay, let's look at it. Do you see any marked difference between the way students in Pakistan behave and the way students in the U.S. behave? Do you see any marked difference in their behaviors? Their attitude to learning, and friendliness with fellow students. Is there any serious difference between the two?
Well, what I would consider as a major difference is that here you have pretty much the technology. You have everything that you want to use in, you study, and you know very well that that Pakistan is a third world country, still growing, and we have a system where we're trying to, you have a system where it's kind of competition. You don't really have 24 hours of power supply.
Mm-hmm.
So it challenges students to wanting to know more.
So
you don't have all the things to play with. Yeah. You don't have video games. You don't have all those things that could distract you from from education. So here in this country, what I've noticed is that after the class, we have students who will go to their rooms and play games and spend time with games. Unlike in Pakistan, where you spend time with just the family, you are creative. You come up with a kind of different kind of play, like running. We can say, okay, let's see who's going to run and jump on this. And also, considering the fact that it's like Pakistan, most Pakistanis are Muslims. It's embedded in the culture that you have to learn.
So let's talk about this technology. Do you think, from what you've said so far, it's like the level of technological development between U.S. and Pakistan. I mean, there's a very wide difference. With your thinking, do you think there is there is a kind of trend of improvement in the application of technology to the education system in Pakistan at the moment?
Sure. In fact, I can say that the potential is there that that still needs to be tapped in Pakistan. The technology is there. We still write with chalk and board under the trees. We still see people gathering. The level of technology the technology is not as developed as it is here.
So it's lower.
I can even tell you that most of the technology we have, we buy it from here.
Okay. Yes. Who controls the government? Who controls schools in Pakistan? The government or the private sector?
Pretty much the government. Pretty much the government. Though we have some private schools, but pretty much the government has majority control of the schools. They have educational boards, even though they allow private people to go to establish their own primary schools and secondary schools, but the government still has a larger percentage of.
That's interesting. Okay, let's leave the school area and go to something else like your family. I want to look back or just have a graphical view of what your family is. Who has a paramount status within your family where you come from? Are they like the head of the family? Is it the woman or the man?
Well, you can link that, the Pakistani culture, the Pakistani culture has something to do with the religion, which is Islam. And you can see that what we have is that the father is the head of the family. And like in my family, a family of 5, my dad is the head of the family. He has the authority.
Okay.
Anything he says overrules any other suggestion.
In fact, that was what I was trying to ask about when you said he's the head of the family. I want to ask that, what are the functions? What are the functions of him being the head of the family?
Oh, the first thing, in the Islamic culture, the first thing is to provide for your family. You cater for your family. You provide security for the family, food they need for the family. You protect your family, and make sure that everybody is okay.
You look at your family as an entity. What is your position in the family?
I'm the third child of the family, and I'm the first son.
In your culture, is there any particular responsibility given to kids? Depends on their position within it depends on their hierarchy within the family.
It depends on their hierarchy, one. It depends on their gender, two. Gender is also a factor.
Oh, okay.
Being the first son in the family, although I'm the third in the family, but the first son, I'll be stepping into my father's shoes.
Okay.
I'll be representing him. I will, when he leaves, I'm supposed to take on the charge of the fatherly role and make sure that my sisters are okay. Even though they will be married, with their husbands, I still have to ensure that they are not lacking anything in terms of the support. So, I have to provide the support that my dad
throughout their lifetime.
Throughout their lifetime. So they need to get that from me. And they have to be my mother too. The motherly role have to be played by them too. And I have to be, I have a younger brother who I have to, I'm responsible for his upkeep.
Despite the fact that you are a student?
Despite the fact that I'm a student, I can assist, but in the case where...
In what way do you assist?
Oh, I take his education very serious. I, check with him.
What I mean in this case is it in form of finance or
yes,
in
I have
form
to
of advice
support
or
him.
in form of logistics or...
Both logistics, financial, because financial in the sense that I have to complement what he's getting from my parents, because in Pakistan, we're not really that rich and not from a rich family, so I have to support the little that my father is giving him.
Okay, I mean, what I mean, my own perception of culture is like, since we've started this interview, it's like we try one way or the other touching on the issue of culture. But if I may ask you, Mr. Ahmed, what is your definition of culture? When somebody just says culture, what do you mean?
Well,
what do you think that person means when he says culture?
When you say culture, culture is a way of life. It's what you do, every day, and it's part of you, and then you do it continuously from every day to every week, from every week to, it's the way you do things. It's the perception about life. In general.
Can you be specific, like, if there are some specific things components you can point to that this is part of culture, this is part of culture? If I may give you an example, we talk like, you can say probably religion. Okay. You agree with me?
Sure.
Probably religion is part of culture. Can you give, I can understand you because generally you said culture is a way of life. And a way of life probably, I don't need, because I just want to know what your perception is a way of life. So I'm trying to make sure to be very specific or give me examples of what makes up these ways of life.
Well, what makes up this way of life is what you do every day. Basically, from your eating habits to your contribution in the family, to how you marriage, funerals.
Okay, good.
As your association with the
let's take up one of these components like religion, because I know that would be interesting to you. Like, your religion is what religion?
I'm a Muslim.
Muslim. Do you think that Muslim? What? Significantly, when I've heard about, I'm not a Muslim, really, I'm a Christian, but I don't have any problem with Muslims. What do you think make that religion a unique religion, Muslim? As a person.
Well, thanks very much for that. Apart from the fact that I was born into Islam, my parents are Muslims. I studied it, and I see that do you want me really to go into details? After my analysis...
a little brief.
Okay.
It just something little bit that really answered my question.
After my analysis, I just felt that, well, the Muslims communicate directly to God, and some other religions will have to go through, a messenger or somebody. But as a Muslim, we believe that, well, we pray unto God, the Creator, that there is none other than Him. Okay. And when you look at Islam also, it has some rules and guidelines, guiding it, which is very interesting. You have to provide for your family. You have to, the right of women are protected, the right of children are protected, the right of parents are protected. So,
okay, let me go further. Like, you are a Muslim by religion. Do you care to know anything as a person about any other religion?
Oh, sure.
Or you are aware of some other religions? Can you give me an example of other religions?
In fact, Islam says that you should study further. You should study. You should seek knowledge. And one of the things that, as a Muslim, you have to believe is that, you have to believe in all the prophets, even Prophet Isa, which people call Jesus. As a Muslim, you have to believe in him. You have to believe in his book. So, all these things are things that are in
that's quite interesting. It's like it informs me a little bit more about Muslim, because most of the things you just said are some of the things I really don't know about Muslim.
To add to that, I remember there was a time somebody saw me and said, "You're a Muslim? Are you serious? You're a Muslim?" I said, "Yes." Wow. You're not terrorist.
So, God, as a person, let me ask you a question. What do you mean? That's where I'm really going. Because you find yourself in this society that is, a lot of people are Christians in this society, and you are a Muslim. How do you feel being a Muslim in this kind of society?
You see, this
in terms of acceptance, in terms of integration, in terms of freedom of your religion.
Well, to be honest with you, it's not going to be what you have at home. When I was coming to this country, I wasn't expecting to have all the luxury I have at home is not going to be what I'm going to have here, so I have to make a sacrifice. One thing is this: majority of the populations here are Christian. Christians, and the majority of the populations here are Christians, and majority of the population in Pakistan are Muslims. We have the Ahmadiyas. We have different sects. So when you as a Christian go there, they look at you as, well, you lost or something. So I'm expecting that when I get here also, that people will like, okay, what is it talking about? What Muslim? What is that? But one thing is this: we are more than religion. Religion is, the spiritual life. What matters is the personal interaction with each other. Our Christians believe God, there is God. Muslims believe there is God. Worship your God, I worship my God. There's no reason for any problem. So,
I think your perception about Muslim religion,
that's my own personal
like
perception.
You have expressed it is, it looks to me wonderful. But if I may go further, have you had any encounter with somebody else from a different religion from you, arguing on basis of some religious tenets, and how do you feel comfortable with that, especially, within this society?
Well,
if it has happened.
I've learned that, well, we cannot all be moving in one direction. We have to have, and that's one of the reasons why we are in school. We are not in school because of the calculus. We are not in school because of Faraday's law of electromagnetic inductions and all those. But we are in school because of, we need to associate, disagree to agree, make progress on what we're doing. So in order for us to make progress, we have to accommodate each other. So you from somewhere and from somewhere, then we come together and you just live life.
If I may ask you, your perception about that particular religion, was it like this when you were in Pakistan, or everything just changed when you came to where you go?
Well, in Pakistan, I can tell you that most of the people around me are Muslims. So coming here now, most of the people around me are Christians. So you can judge.
Has that really influenced your lifestyle or your thinking or your reaction to issues?
No.
And you feel comfortable being in this society?
I feel comfortable because I've met good people. When people treat me good, it's not because of the religion that makes them treat me good. It is their personal, it is their character. It is their personal character. It is because they are good. When people treat me bad, it's not because of their religion, but it's because they are bad themselves. So
when we talk, when I will ask another question, it just came to my mind now, like identity. Do you think religion is part of identity?
Of course, yes. Of course, yes.
But first of all, what do you understand by identity?
Identity is whatever name you tag or give to a person to identify the person.
So,
if I'm correct.
Do you think identity has to do just only with names? Or
it's more than name. It's more than name. Name might be the first thing. I might have to call your name and say, hey, Mr. Peter. That is the first thing to identify you.
Okay.
Then if I want to know further, then I'll be like, okay, Mr. Peter, what's your major? What are you studying? Then where do you work? Those are part of your identity. Your height and everything. Those are part of what makes you. So it depends on, and religion is part of identity.
Good.
Culture is part of identity.
Okay, good.
Because you have, look now where, at times I struggle with my culture. I struggle between Gambia and Pakistan.
Okay.
Wow, Gambia, Pakistan, this. And one of the problems, here in this country, they say, when you talk, they say, you have an accent.
Okay.
And it makes me laugh all the time. Because
is it part of your identity? Accent is part of identity or what?
You have an accent. I just laugh because...
Why?
You also have an accent.
Good. At least from your own perspective.
In London, they have an accent.
Okay.
Pakistan, we have an accent. Gambia, they have accents. So everywhere in the world, they have accents. So
okay. I'm really impressed. It's
some people tag that as part of identity, but for me, I just look at it as...
Okay. There is diversity in the culture between where you grew up and this place. have you experienced any form of discrimination or racism or bias in your dealing with people, in dealing with your classmates, dealing with some departments where in school, dealing with the general populace? Have you experienced any form of bias or discrimination since you've been here?
To be honest with you, well, when you say discrimination is everywhere.
Okay.
It's everywhere. Even in Pakistan, if you're not from my family, you come close to me, and you come at a time that we are not expecting, somebody will be like, okay, he's not welcome here. We only talk about discrimination when it comes to sharing, and when something is not sufficient enough to go around. That is when we talk about discrimination. Oh, I want to have access to some money or some grant or some things, and you say, oh, race, color, accent, all these things, you put everything in there to protect, to favor some certain tribe, character. But in the real sense of it, even if discrimination occurs, I don't think about it personally.
Do you think you're coming into the USA does it have any influence on your life? Do you think there's anything you've gained or something you have lost because you are not in Pakistan? I just wanted to compare the two.
One thing is this, I have lost and I have gained.
Okay. In what areas?
Okay. Let me talk about my gains first. When you move from one country to another country, when you go, you learn different culture. I'm learning the culture here. That is an added value to what I have in life. So, like my mom would say that, well, the number of countries, the number of people you meet increases your knowledge. So I'm here now, that is one. And then when you talk about American culture, American system, I can tell you one or two things. I can tell you one or two things about Pakistan culture. I can tell you one or two things about...
I wish I could have more time to, deal with a lot of things, a lot of issues, personal, cultural, and some other things. But unfortunately, the time has not really permitted us to. But the little things we were able to do, is quite impressive. I'm really grateful for your participation. So
thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm glad. It's my pleasure. And if there's
thank you very much.